Okay, welcome to Creativity and the Paranormal. I've been on a hiatus since last year, but I'm back. I am back. And in new surroundings, you might see I have some of my spooky posters back there. The vintage poster from Disneyland's The Haunted Mansion. When you first walk into Disneyland or Disney World, Chelsea, you see that poster, and one from Salem, and I Married a Witch, and some other things there. So just in celebration of spookiness, and then my book stuff over there. Enough about me. We are interviewing today the paranormal author, Chelsey Ortega, who has written Bond Witch. And welcome, Chelsey.
Thank you. I am honored to be your first interviewee after your break. So thank you.
Yes, the first of 2024. All right. Yes, welcome. So I am going to begin with a intro of Chelsey, and also to talk about, her book. And let me start out with that. Can you, Chelsey, you can still see me, right?
Yes.
Okay, forgive me. This is a tech thing, but I am looking at the screen so I can talk about you. So Chelsey M. Ortega is a teacher by day, an award-winning author by night. History is her first love, and any story involving magic and romance, her second love. She especially loves witches and is still awaiting her acceptance letter to a well-known school. I hope that comes for you. And Chelsey received her bachelor's in history teaching from Brigham Young University. In addition to writing, Chelsey teaches high school US history and ELD. She lives in Utah with her husband, 3 children, and 2 cats. Okay, so follow Chelsey. I'm gonna put this out now, and we can say it again at the end, at www.chelseymortega.com, and that's CHELSEYMORTEGA.com, just so we have that. And now her book, Bond Witch, that I believe came out last October. You can correct me, Chelsey.
Yes.
Oh, that's correct. From Wild Rose Press, a great publisher, I might add. So here we go. Bond Witch is about an 18-year-old Annamaria Lyons has never left her small hometown of Harrison, Wyoming. She has lived with her aunt, Trinity, since her parents died when she was just 2 years old. And we have a cat joining us. I do have to let you know. So, all right. Trinity has been a wonderful guardian with one exception. She won't allow Annamaria out of the house after sunset. That is, until the night of senior prom. Annamaria's long-lost sister arrives, bringing with her a world full of hidden family secrets and the supernatural. Forced to flee her childhood home without a proper goodbye to her human life and first love, Annamaria immerses herself in the magical world. New friends and a new suitor challenge her original dreams for the future, and when she finds herself caught in the middle of a centuries-old conflict, Annamaria must decide to rise above it or give in to the darkness. Ooh, that is good, Chelsey. That is so good. Let me tell you. Oh, there it is. There it is. What a beautiful cover.
Thank you. It's the talent of Jennifer Grief. She did the cover, and I am so happy with it.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And it's very eye-catching,
Thank you.
So what I want to ask you now is, what is it about the paranormal realm that inspires you to write in that genre?
Well, I've always loved magic and witches. I have an October birthday.
Me
So I
too.
think that's part of it. All
Yeah.
of my birthday parties were costume parties,
Uh-huh.
especially since it's at the end of October. It's only a few days before Halloween, so everyone had their costumes by then.
Okay.
So every birthday party up until I was probably 12 or 13 was a costume party. And
Aw.
I still even dress up. I'm in my 30s and I still dress up. And
Me too.
my husband has graciously accepted that, and we do couples costumes every year.
Oh,
So
that's great. Love that. Yes.
yeah. And like I said, I love witches and magic the most, but vampires are a close second, which
Yes.
seems to be the favorite among paranormal romance stories.
Oh, yeah.
And so I've just always loved that. And I have a couple permanent Halloween decorations in my home. I decorate in September. I'm that house on my
Oh,
street.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I've just always loved the fun aspects of the paranormal. I don't really like the horror stuff. I did go through a horror phase
Yeah.
as a teenager. I was a teenager when The Ring and The Grudge and their sequels came out, and watched those and got scared with my friends. But
Yeah.
now I just like the fun stuff. So it's just always been a part of me. I don't think there's really any one moment that influenced me. I just have always loved it.
That's wonderful. And I know exactly how you feel. I share all of those feelings. So, this is a fun one that I love to ask. Do you have a favorite paranormal movie or TV show now or when you were growing up?
Yes, simply simple answer yes. I don't do good with that favorite question because I can't pick just
Well,
one.
yeah, you can name like three.
So, growing up, I loved Disney Channel's Wizards of Waverly Place.
Oh, they're getting
And
a reboot, you know.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I'll
I
have to
just saw Selena Gomez in an interview and she's executive producing the reboot.
Oh, that's exciting. I will
Yeah.
definitely be watching it then. Even as an adult, I rewatch the original series on Disney Plus every couple years.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I was kind of young when Sabrina and Buffy came out, but thanks to streaming services, I have since watched both shows
Yeah.
fully, and I love them. And they definitely were part of the inspiration for Bond Witch.
Ooh.
And I also enjoy the Vampire Diaries and their spin-off, the originals.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah. I mean, there's so many that I've been meaning to catch up with. I mean, I've seen so many too, but Vampire Diaries, the originals, I really want to get that. I just finished Dead Boy Detectives by Neil Gaiman on Netflix. That was really good.
I haven't heard of that. I'll have to check
Yeah,
that out.
just came out recently.
That sounds like vampires, maybe?
Well, they're two dead boys from a boys boarding school. One was from the like the 40s or something, and one was from the 80s, and they both died under suspicious
Oh, so
circumstances.
they're ghosts. Okay.
So, and they're ghosts, and so they're trying to help other ghosts help resolve like their deaths, and it gets beyond that and everything. So it was really fun, but yeah, I love the paranormal shows. I know
Yeah,
you do
I
too.
just watched Practical Magic for the first time ever this past October. And I don't know why it took me so long to give it a shot, but I'm glad
Yeah.
I did, and it's now gonna be part of my Halloween movie rotation every October.
Yes, yes. And you can tell I clue into the Hollywood Reporter every day when I'm sitting at my day job because they just announced Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock just announced there's going to do a Practical Magic 2 movie.
I saw that and I'm
Yeah.
really
Oh yeah, yeah.
excited. Yeah,
You have to wait for them to write it and film it and all that, but I can't.
right. So it'll be a few years, but still that's exciting.
Oh, I know. I know. So okay, this is another one I love. Now, if you don't have an answer for yourself, maybe you know of someone, and if not, that's okay too. But have you, Chelsey Ortega, ever seen a ghost or experienced something paranormal in real life?
I have not seen a ghost, but I have some paranormal experiences.
Ooh,
So I have two stories that I want to share.
ooh,
The first one I wasn't there for, but I got to hear the recording after. So
okay.
when I was a teenager, I worked in customer service for one of the chain department stores in my local mall. And one of my coworkers liked to go ghost hunting on the weekends or on her nights off.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and she has some really crazy stories. The majority of her experiences is just funny stuff. Like it's just us laughing and being like, you know, say hi or something.
Yeah.
But every once in a while something would happen. One of her friends that she took with her, a ghost followed her home and they had to bless their house with their religious leader to
Oh
get
my
the ghost out. And her friend was like, I'm never going with you again. That was the
Yeah,
scariest.
that was it, right?
Yeah.
The door
And
slamming or something was going on in the
no,
house?
the ghost like appeared to her and like was like sitting on her bed and she was like, you need to leave. And the ghost said, no, you need to leave. And so
Wow.
then she called her husband and they called their religious leader and cast the ghost out and blessed the house. And she's like, I'm never touching that stuff again.
That's like
And
a movie.
yeah.
Wow.
And so my friend, I thought that might have even scared my friend away, my coworker away. And she's like, no, I'm still gonna do it. I'm like, oh, honey, at your own discretion.
She's
And
like, we're making success. We're making contact.
yes, like, well, I mean, I guess since it didn't follow you home, you don't feel as scared.
Yeah.
But one time she did get a voice on a recording and she brought the audio tape to work. And so I listened to it. And so like at first it was just a bunch of like humans laughing, like asking silly questions. And I can't remember where they were. They might have been at a cemetery. And she said, do you want us to be here? And there was this very clear, I'm gonna say it out loud because I don't think you'll the whisper, but it was a whisper, like an angry whisper, and it said no.
Oh,
And
no.
that was, I mean, even now I still have chills talking
Yeah.
about it. And I wasn't even there. I just heard the audio recording and I was like, wow, like if
Oh
I
my
was with you,
gosh.
that would have been my last time going ghost hunting.
Yeah. They
And
continue running out. No, I can't.
yeah, and so like I said in my earlier question, I don't like the horror aspects of the paranormal. So
Yeah.
you're not gonna catch me with a group of ghost hunters. I'm not gonna be trying to record stuff or pull out a
Right.
Ouija board. Um,
Yeah.
that's fine for people who do enjoy it. That's not me. And
Yeah.
so a few years later, do you know what the cell phone game Pokemon Go is?
No, I don't.
Okay, so you download it to your cell phone and they use GPS. And so when you log into the game, it's like a map of wherever you currently are.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
So then they've placed like Pokemon there, and so you can walk around and catch them.
Okay.
And they have like gyms where you have to be physically there to do it. And
Uh-huh.
so you go to where a gym has been placed, and then you fight the Pokemon that are in the gym so that you can take over the gym. So my husband is a big Pokemon. Well, he just loves video games in general, but Pokemon Go, he played for the first couple years that it came out. And
Okay.
so it was like 11 o'clock at night, and he was like, oh, this gym at this park is available. Like, we need to go fight it and get it. And I'm like, okay, fine, like, whatever. And like, I played for him because it made him happy.
Yeah, yeah.
And so where I live, the curfews for the public parks is 11 o'clock. So we were there past curfew, and I'm like,
Uh-oh.
and we're adults. So if the police come, we're in big trouble. And so we're at this park and no one else is there, and we're fighting these, digital Pokemon on our phones.
Yes.
And the swing just starts going by itself. And there was no wind, there was nothing to make the swing go. And I'm
Right.
like, do you see that? And he's like, yeah. And I said, is that because he goes to this park with his friends late at night?
Yeah.
And he just happened, we were on date night, and he's like, we gotta go. So usually I'm not with him. And I'm like, does that happen is this normal? And he goes, yeah, the swing just goes all the time.
Really? Oh my.
And he goes, it's, and he and his friends named the ghost and or
Oh.
whatever was making the swing go. And I asked him to prepare for this interview. I'm like, what did you name that ghost? And he couldn't remember. And I
Oh.
even tried to Google, like, is this park haunted? And I
Uh-huh.
couldn't find any articles, nothing. So unfortunately, I'm not as prepared for the story as I tried
Oh
to
no,
be.
that's okay. I mean, you
He
can
just
always say it was Pokemon. No, I'm kidding.
but he and his friends named the ghost, and like they would just say hi to it when it would start swinging. And I'm like, would it respond in any way? He's like, yeah, it usually stops swinging once we acknowledged it. And
Aw. I
I'm
wonder
like,
if
yeah,
it was a child.
it got so sad. Like, what if it's a kid, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So
That was my
anyway,
first thought.
yeah. So that, and I refused to go back to that park at night with
Yeah.
him. After that, I'm like, you can go fight that gym on your own.
You've
So
had quite an experience there, actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
and
Um,
the fact that other people have seen that swing go too. So
if you ever, I mean, it won't be in this interview, or you can contact me or whatever, but if you ever find out the history to that park, if they know of what it was, I'd be interested to know,
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to keep, maybe I should have, because I just Googled, is Nilson's Grove haunted? I should have Googled like what crimes have been committed at Nilson's Grove.
Oh, yeah. And
I
then
didn't think about that.
I watch all these spooky shows, and sometimes they say there was a murder in a house 2 doors up, but we got the go. So there's sometimes
Oh,
it's
that
weird
is
things like that.
interesting. Yeah.
I know it's not funny. I don't mean to laugh, but that's really interesting. I'm sorry, this cat just
That's okay.
he was asleep over there. Minute I start, but see, they like to be in the
Yeah.
thrill of it. So I would love to ask you what your advice is for aspiring writers.
So mine is pretty repeated. Write
That's okay.
what you want to read, and I want to explain why. At least from my point of view, why that's important. Have you seen, and it's kind of twisted in a funny way at first, have you seen that meme that says write what you want to read because you're going to read it 75 times while you're editing?
I haven't, but how true is that?
Yeah. And so there's that aspect, but also because I feel like your passion goes into the story better and it's more authentic if it's a story that you care about and if it's characters that
Yeah.
you care about. Uh, I'm in a critique circle group, and so one of the writers was really struggling with some of the stuff that we had pointed out and recommended to make his
Oh,
better. And he was just like, I just love my story. I love my story. And I told him, then keep it. We're just 4 people out of millions that could love your story. And you don't have to take everything we recommend. This is just our personal opinion.
yeah.
And so I hope he still, as he edits, I hope he still loves his story. And that
Yeah.
kind of
Oh, that
goes
was
into my next thing that is connected with writing what you want to read, but to listen to your characters. I believe that our characters do come alive in some type
yeah.
of way. And I experienced several times with Bond Witch and with its sequel, which is in the hands of my editor right now. So crossing my fingers that I'll get good news in the next month or so that the Wild Rose Press
Yeah.
wants to take it on.
Oh,
So um they is I have something planned. I'm a plotter, so I have a very detailed outline. And that, as my characters come alive and they grow and I get to know them, they'll tell me, that's not going to work anymore. This is actually the choice I want to make. And
yeah.
so originally with Bond Witch, there were 2 major changes. In my first draft, the character Mariana, who is my main character's sister, was one of the antagonists. She was one of the villains. So it's kind of like sister gets sister.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't working, but I pushed through it. And my early beta readers really didn't have anything good to say. And
Oh,
as I was figuring out, I realized Mariana was telling me that she's not meant to be an antagonist.
oh,
And
wow.
so
Oh,
she
yeah.
ends up being kind of like a fence sitter where she wants to be the sidekick to Annamaria, the protagonist, but she's also dating the true antagonist. And so she's like been manipulated by him. And
Oh,
so there's a lot of like, do I choose my sister or do I choose my boyfriend type of choices for her throughout the first book.
and that
And
creates a lot of tension and
it
conflict.
still creates,
Yeah.
sister versus sister, but in a different way. And it also allows her a better redemption arc than what I originally had for her.
Yes, that's great.
And another major change that the characters told me to do was there was no like love story. And one of my side characters falls in love with Annamaria, started to fall in love with her. And I'm like, well, it'll just be an unrequited love. But then Annamaria was like, actually, I am liking him back. So
Ah,
you need to put us together. So then I have
yeah,
this substantive side romantic side plot, and
yeah.
then their romance is going to continue to be the main plot for the sequel. So
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I
yeah.
don't know about you, but I see it in my head like a movie. I mean, I'm literally typing out the movie in my head, and then but, um God, recently I'm working on something too, and it was God, what was it? I don't know, an ex of this person was just a kind of a nasty person. But then at one point I had to give him more depth because he was getting one dimensional. It's like, oh, the nasty ex-husband. It's like, no, no, no. So that came out, and yeah, because I think you just click off if someone is just a stereotype or something, So
Yeah.
things like that is like as you write it, as you're saying, the character kind of speaks back to you from the page and like, oh yeah, this needs to be more, more this way or that way. That is amazing. So what advice would you give? Oh, okay. I throw this in, it's up to you. When we are working on our projects, sometimes, well, you were mentioning it earlier, but you were in a group and you give feedback and it's just information and that's the way it is and everyone has an opinion. But have you ever had naysayers? And if so, how have you dealt with it? And what do you advise for people, working on their projects if there's like a naysayer around or something?
So I kind of view this question two different ways. The naysayers and like the people in your life who don't think you can publish or don't think that you should. And then the naysayers of once you are published and people are like, this book is not good.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start with that first group. If it's someone, close in, like a friend or a family, just don't involve them in your writing uh career. I mean, depending on how toxic they are, I don't think you need to cut someone out just because they don't support your writing, but just simply don't include them. And I read somewhere, and I don't know where the numbers came from, so don't quote me on this,
Yeah.
but I read somewhere that close to 51% of writers do not have the support of their significant other.
Oh, wow.
And that makes me so sad. And
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be me, because when I was blogging, my husband didn't like that I was blogging. And so when I brought up writing fiction, um, I just was talking about it, but I wasn't like asking for his support or help or advice. I was just simply saying, I'm going to do this. And I'd been talking about it for a while. And then I finally asked him, I'm like, do you support this? And he goes, yeah, I hope you make $1,000,000.
Ah.
And I was like, why do you support me writing fiction, but you didn't support me blogging? And my husband is a very private person. And he goes, because you were telling everyone our business when you were blogging,
Oh, okay. There you go. So,
making up a
yeah.
story. So,
It's like
um,
fiction's fine. Fiction's fine.
yeah. So,
That's funny.
you need a support system. But then when it comes to like random strangers, like I remember when I first in a Facebook group, I was like, oh, I'm writing about witches, werewolves, and vampires. And like half of the comments were like, that's been overdone. Good luck with that. Um, and I just ignored those people. It's easy to ignore strangers. It's harder to ignore people that you know. Um, but just don't involve them in the writing process if they're not going to support you.
Yeah, unless you're my agent, my publisher, my editor, or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, I'll share the link with you when it's on Amazon, and you can order a copy if you want or not. And if otherwise, I'm just doing my thing. I'm going to do me. You do you.
Yeah.
Pete, can you tell I've been talking about this recently with someone else? Anyway, I one time for my I'm published with Wild Rose Press as well, Bay of Darkness and the Kelly Society Christmas. But I won't go on about me this isn't going to be on my blog, it's on my channel, people can look me up. But I was so excited with Bay of Darkness, the first paranormal fiction book. It is about ghost hunters and stuff. I shared with I'm just going to say some people close to me, friends or whatever, whoever they are. I said, because I just got the cover art, and it's by, oh God, Debbie something, one of the other ones that's the in-house cover artist for Wild Rose Press, like your cover. But it was a different lady, and I was so excited, so I shared it. Said the cover for Bay of Darkness, and I had some people saying, "Oh, that's great," blah, blah. And then I had someone say, "Well, if I were you, I would change the color here to the da 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 da," and like this feedback criticism, and I said, the cover's already set and done. I was just sharing it with you guys. It's like, what are you talking about? It's like, I guess they thought I was asking for feedback. I didn't even do a cover. It's a professional person. And we don't have any, Wild Rose Press does allow us to give a few comments, which they said is unheard of in the publishing industry. But you get one shot. And I mean, I loved it from the get-go, And well, I did want the guy to look like Michael Fassbender, the actor from the, X-Men series. And he didn't quite, but it doesn't matter. It's the guy was still kind of cute, and everything else was fabulous. So I was like, no, this is a done deal. I was like, where did that come from? But like you said, so in my mind, and this person wasn't even aware. Okay, so I'm not gonna, but in the future, I said in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to share it with them when I have the Amazon link. And there you go. So,
Yeah, I don't think I had the cover to Bond Witch for close to probably 7 or 8 months before the Amazon link was ready.
Yeah.
And I kept it under lock and key. I didn't do a cover reveal until the Amazon link was ready. Except
Very
for
good.
my newsletter followers. They got it the week after I got it because
yes, exactly. I have to get back on my newsletter too.
But no one else got to see it until the Amazon was ready. So
exactly, right. So that's a good thing to do. Now I want to take a little break here and show you my spooky mug.
Good, I'm glad you remembered, because I was sitting here thinking we forgot to do it at the beginning. Yeah, that is so cute.
And I was in Target last Halloween season, and I'm running past to get something, and I'm like, I stop and I go back, and there's these $5.
Oh my gosh.
And I have a ghost one too, so I had to get it.
Yeah. So like I told you in my email, I have way too many, and I couldn't. Anyway, I narrowed it down. So this is mine. It's a cauldron.
Oh my God, I love it. I'm 100% that witch.
Yes.
I love
it. 100% that witch. I really love, and this is probably my unclean humor, but I love that play. Like, I have a bunch of like witch stuff where it could be the other word.
Oh yes, yes.
Like, I have another one, and I was trying to decide between which one. I have another one that says resting witch face. Because I've been smiling this whole time, but in normal life I have RBF really bad. So
oh, it's hard for me to believe, but hey. No, but that's so cool. I love that mug. Yeah, I have way too many too. I have some in 2 different cupboards because there's so many, but I get to use them on these interviews, which is great.
Yes, I'm hoping you'll let me back when the sequel's ready so that I can
for sure. Do you want to share the title, just the title?
Yeah, so the title of the sequel is going to be Bond Witch Hybrid.
Ooh.
And so in the first book, Annamaria's sister Mariana is a witch vampire hybrid. She got changed into a vampire when she was 18, and so she's a hybrid now. And so as Annamaria and her love story continues into this sequel, we're also going to get a bit more about Mariana's backstory.
Oh, nice. I like the way that has balanced out. That's great. Oh, I love it. Yeah, I love hybrids too. That's a great.
Yes.
So with the few moments left, do you have any thoughts or comments about anything we've talked about?
I want to go back to that naysayer. I want to go back to that naysayer question.
Yeah.
Um, and this is really hard for a lot of people, but I think it's important to understand that not everyone is going to be in your target audience.
Yeah.
And it's when you're doing beta readers, critique groups, or once you're full on published and those reviews are coming in on Goodreads and Amazon, um, separate them from, okay, and you can tell by what they say in their comments. This
Yeah.
person is a target reader. Their critique can help me in
Yeah.
the future with my writing. This person is clearly not a target audience. They don't read my genre.
Mhm.
And so I'm going to pick and choose what I learn from them.
Right.
And so,
Exactly.
and I've learned to say that as I've beta read and done critique groups and stuff. And I will start by saying, I realized at this point in your book that I'm not your target audience. So please take my comments with a grain of salt.
Yeah, exactly. And because I mean, but paranormal has a huge audience, I mean, look at Stranger Things,
Yes.
I like to mention TV shows too, although obviously I can mention books,
Yeah.
Christine Feehan, all those vampire books, Stephanie Meyer, Twilight, and all that. But no, and I just wanted to say what you mentioned before about when someone says, I had somebody scoff at me at a conference years ago because I had sort of started talking to this woman that I didn't know, but we were walking down the hall together. She goes, oh, these are my friends, so and so, so and so, and they're into horror, which is great. Stephen King, whatever, great. And I go, what do you write? I go, oh, I'm paranormal. And he goes, I don't know. I said, excuse me, I have to go to lunch now. And I just left. And
Yeah.
and it was like a year after that, I got published with Paranormal with Wild Rose Press. And I can't even, at the time, I was really mad at this guy, but I couldn't even, I thought about it later. I'm like, you know what? This person thinks that they know the genre or the business or something. And when you make statements like that, you really don't know. Because someone could have told Stephanie Meyer, another vampire book? What's it called? Twilight?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And I think when Sylvester Stallone was writing the screenplay to Rocky, I don't know if he heard this, but I do remember when it came out, some parents, friends of mine, my parents' friends or someone like that saying, oh, another boxing movie? Hello. And it's not, yeah, I mean, it's how you do it. It's not that it's been done before. Everything's been done before. I mean,
Yes.
right? When they say
There's
nothing,
only one story.
it's how you tell it, So anyway, that's my comment.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, there are audiences for everything.
Yeah.
And if something's been overdone, it's because it's doing well. And there are people who like that and want more.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. And yeah, I do agree with this saying, know your audience. So, and I think, well, what's funny, no, I do have to share this. I've shared this before. Maybe you saw it on one of the other ones. When Bay of Darkness came out, I was all excited. It was like, now let's look at the Amazon comments, The very first comment that somebody put up was some lady or whatever. And she wrote, something like, this is not anything I would read. I don't read this type of book. And it somehow got on my phone and I can't get it off. I can't get it off. Someone told me how to, and I'm just like, oh my God, and I was just laughing, but I was laughing. And my sister,
That's
one of my
awesome.
sisters got kind of offended. And like months later, she wrote a reply and she said, you should really talk to Amazon Tech or Amazon customer service
Yeah,
to
it's
help you
not
get
the
it off the
author's
phone
fault.
and not give a negative comment on a book that you haven't even read, because she goes, I'm not going to read this. I'm like, why would you even put the comment? So I was laughing though, but it was funny because my sister put that comment up. Like, well, thank you. I said, it's not really going to do anything, but, and then there were good comments,
Yeah.
the counter to that was, my Uber driver who I told about the book, he goes, wait, what's that? And he wrote it down and everything. And I'm like, and it had just come out. The very next comment was him. And he goes, I read it. It was great. And blah, blah,
So
because he kind of
sweet.
told me his handle name on Amazon.
Yeah.
So I knew it was him. And I'm like, well, that's great.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
Yeah. So, Well, anyway, I thank you for coming on, Chelsey.
Thank
And
you for having me.
yeah, and we're gonna have Chelsey back with Bondwitch Hybrid. I don't know exactly what time, but
Neither do I. I don't have a contract yet. Just crossing my fingers that get
yes,
some good news in a month or two. So
you will. You will. I think you will. So anyway, congrats on Bond Witch. And again, chelseymortega.com. I spelled it before. I can put it in the notes.
yeah, that's
And
an EY. My mom spelled my name differently.
and that's great. Yeah, exactly. I have a friend named Stacy that has the EY. Anyway, so everyone have a wonderful day. And gosh, what is my tagline? I've been off so long. I'll say, have a creative, mystical, paranormal day.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.